Coaching Corner. Thank you all so much for being a part of the Cater Linked community. Great community. We are doing some amazing things in this space, and I'm glad that you're able to take time out your day to join us. Now, remember, these are pre-recorded. You have all the time in the world to be able to check these out down the road, watch it partially, take some notes, come back to it. The digital age is amazing. So we are going to get started now. For today's session, this is the Coaching Corner. So it's going to always have a coaching aspect in what I talk about. And today's topic is coaching for high pressure performance. Now, we all know within our industry, fast paced, lots of bodies, lots of things that are high demand that are asked from us, from our clients, and from our team. Our goal is always the end result, that at the end of what we do, we should have reached that result for our team and our catering clients. But there's a lot of coaching that goes into this aspect, coaching to the people to whom we're serving, and also coaching to people that work with us or that is in the field, and also some coaching for ourselves. So this topic for today, coaching for high pressure performance, it is the foundations of building a high performing catering team. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, catering can be intense. And as leaders, it's our job to make sure everything runs smoothly, especially when things get tough. We're going to dive into how to prepare for and handle these high pressure moments. In catering, we face high pressure environments constantly, whether it's managing a wedding reception, a corporate luncheon, or large event. Things don't always go according to plan. When challenges arise, our job as leaders is to keep our team focused, calm, and moving forward toward a successful outcome. This webinar will help you coach your team through these moments to maintain high performance and client satisfaction. In a high pressure situation, you as the leader, you set the tone. If you're panicked, your team will panic. It's essential to stay calm and focused. Remember, leadership isn't just about giving orders. It's about guiding your team through the chaos. A few key tips. 1, lead by example. Keep communication clear and calm, and always focus on the solution, not the problem. When something goes wrong, whether it's a delay in the food prep or a miscommunication with the venue, your ability to remain calm will reassure your team that everything is under control. I think that that's one of the areas that we tend to lose that reality with. We are emotional in what we do. We have been emotional, and that's what has gotten us as far as we have, because we can feel what's going on the other end of the phone inside of the event space, and we're able to react. But a few things that we have to keep in mind is our team is going to react as we do. So although we can have that heightened emotion, keeping that in control as we're coaching through our team and our client is key. Because as we react, as we move forward with what we're wearing on our shoulder, our team will wear that exact same emotion. In high pressure events, it's easy for everyone to get disoriented. This is why setting clear expectations is crucial before the event starts, but also be ready to reiterate responsibilities on the fly as well. When something changes, whether it's a last minute guest count, or some delay in the food order. It's important to quickly clarify these changes with the team. Remember, concise communication is your friend. In moments of pressure, simplify instructions. Don't overload your team with unnecessary details. Focus on the key points that help them move forward. I always think back to when it comes to being a school teacher. With a school teacher, very first day, it, it can be eighth grade students that have been in a public school or private school for 8 full years. And the teacher still, on day one, has to go through what the instructions are, what to do, what not to do. On day two, they do the exact same thing. Same as week 3, same as month 4. They still have to give the exact same clear, concise communications. We, with our teams on every catering order, have to do the same thing. Why? Just because they are human, just like we are too. They will have everything that's on their mind going into that event, meaning car trouble, bills, spouse, partners, whatever you name it. They still have those things that are on their mind. You have to make sure that you're taking time out to help reorient them on simplified instructions of what success looks like for the end result. There will always be several paths taking everyone to get to that point, but reorientating them every single time helps to make sure we have a clear view through that window pane of success. Now, real-time communication is your lifeline. When you're dealing with a large event, or any event for that matter, being able to quickly communicate with your team is key to keeping things on track. Use walkie-talkies, event management apps, or even simple phone calls to ensure your team knows what's going on. Don't wait until the last minute to address a problem. If an issue arises, tackle it immediately. A delay in any form of communication or action can lead to bigger problems down the road. And being consistent with what that form is, versus sometimes it's via email, sometimes it's phone calls, sometimes it's Slack. Being consistent on what that vehicle is for speaking back and forth with your team, and they know as soon as it is event time, this is the only means of communication that they use. They will now understand that when they get notified via phone call or a button, they know that this is 911 and it needs to be answered right away because it's dealing with that event. Now, this slide right here, truly dear to my heart because it's everything about what I teach. Coaching. As leaders, we need to coach our team through these moments, not just tell them what to do. Encourage your team to take initiative and make decisions. When something goes wrong, it's important for them to feel empowered to solve the problem instead of waiting for instructions. Provide real-time coaching during the event. If someone's struggling, step in and offer guidance, but don't micromanage. Clearly two different things. Focus on fostering problem-solving skills so your team can handle challenges independently. In catering, coaching isn't just about managing tasks. It's about developing your team to perform under pressure and grow into leaders. There's a few different levels when I think about coaching. First, we definitely have two different types of coaching. We have in the moment coaching. In the moment coaching is when we see the challenge and we're talking them through what they should be thinking through in order to tackle that challenge. Talking them through what they should be thinking through to tackle that challenge, not telling them exactly what to do. The more we can do in the moment coaching, the more that we're teaching them to think on their feet and help tackle challenge with medium risk to get maximum results. The second form of coaching is scheduled coaching. That's something that we should also do, even with our catering teams. That scheduled coaching is putting together that time we spend with it with the individuals that report directly to us and go over what their challenges are, taking time to get to know them, not telling them what's wrong with them telling us what their challenges are and us helping to coach them through those challenges. But that space has to be created each week in doing so. But let's talk about these different levels of coaching. First, there is a level one of coaching. The level one is accomplishing tasks and goals. At this level, coaching focuses on getting tasks done, timely food prep, setting up events, managing schedules. It's about accountability and ensuring short-term goals are met. Level two coaching is de- is developing new competence. Here we help team members to develop new skills like managing client back and forth emails, text, vendor coordination, or even the logistics. Training for autonomy and giving them the tools to succeed independently. Then you have level three coaching. That is to alleviate suffering. It sounds strange. We're not talking about suffering like got burnt on a hot sterno, but coaching for transformation. At this level, coaching shifts to empowering your team emotionally and mentally. It's about aligning their personal values with their roles, helping them to see the bigger picture, and growing them into future leaders who thrive under pressure. That the takeaway for coaching in catering is moving your team through the different levels that creates a stronger, more autonomous team capable of handling the chaos and stress that come with catering events. Now, the pressure doesn't just end when the event does. After the event, it's important to sit down with your team and reflect on how things went. Host a post event debrief where you can discuss what worked, what didn't, and most importantly, how the team handled the pressure. Highlight successes, no matter how small, and reinforce positive behavior and use any mistakes as learning opportunities for future events. I think that the debrief is one of the most important aspects that gets looked over. We do really well at talking to people and telling them what went exactly wrong, how to fix it, what could have been done better. But how many times did you have that perfect event happen? At the very end, you then sat down and went over all the details of why it went right. Not just thinking that, oh, everyone knows why this worked out well. It's because of this, this, and this. No, we also have to reorient our teams during that aspect too, especially for the most perfect events. That's when the most notes are taken because we want to learn how do we duplicate that. So that debrief is done after every event so everyone understood how they made success happen or coaching them through how to have better mental autonomy at making the right choices when they're in the moment. Now it's time for a bit of Q&A. So I know we're only 16 minutes in, but I'd love to hear from you. What's the biggest high pressure challenges you've been through in catering? And I believe that there is a question button somewhere around here. I don't see any questions yet. I do have one. How do you balance coaching during a crisis and actually solving the issue? That's a great question. Because when you are coaching in the moment of a crisis, there's a lot of fires that are going on. So, be right before I get to the end of that answer, first things first, we're trained within the hospitality industry to be excellent firemen and firewomen, meaning we're trained to actually walk with that fire hose on our hip. And we're like the Terminator. We are walking through the kitchen or the event space, and it's like 20 feet wide, 20 feet out, neck back and forth, looking for that next fire. Because what do? As soon as we see it, pull out the fire hose and we start dousing that baby because we want to put the fire out right then. But the challenge is, if you've ever put out a fire with a fire hose, your only concentration is directly on one side and trying to hold that hose to put out that fire, fix that issue. But what's happening all around you? You can't see. You can't concentrate on the other things that are going on. I always propose, although we've been trained to be great firewomen and firemen, we have to be fire chiefs of that event. We're able to have firemen and firewomen that we ask them to, whether via walkie-talkie, text message, or phone, to help put out that fire so we can continue to check the building on the back side, left side, right side, so that we have no blind spot as to what's going on. So the very first thing is, don't be the one handling that crisis yourself. You should have a team and a plan of, if something goes wrong, who is the first person to help take care of that thing, not you as that catering director. You are the fire chief. So let's make sure we change that mentality first. Second piece to that answer is always think about, what is the end result? We can absolutely get caught up in all of the details of why. Well, why did this happen? Why did that happen? The real question is, how close are we to getting to the end result that it needs to be? And what's the next steps we need to take to still hit that end result? Whenever we plan a trip to go to Botswana, to go to South Africa, to go to Europe, we don't particularly really drill down into all of the details of exactly the shoes we're wearing when we get on the plane, to how we sit, to what kind of conversations that we have. We think about the end result. Getting there, the room is ready, we can relax, have a few drinks, and visit some places, get to the next place. Don't get too focused on the tiny details. Enjoy those details, but always focus on the end result within that crisis so you can solve the issue and still get to the end. Hopefully, that did help with that question. Next question. What are some ways you remain calm? Any tips to keep cool during crunch time? Keep it simple. Keep it absolutely simple. And again, focus on that end result. We get overhyped about how everything looks. Let's be honest. Most of our clients are really drilled into what's going on around them, not us. If we're focused on the end result and we keep it simple and we have plans in place while remaining flexible, because we can't plan for everything. But if we can always keep to the, what are the 3 steps to the end results, we can stay more calm. And take a breath. Take a breath, take a moment, and think about the answer. Speed in most situations of a crisis acts against you. Take a moment, think through what the end result needs to be, and then get with your team. Make sure that it's being viewed from all sides, and then put the proper person in place to help make that happen. Crunch time, that's how you keep cool. How do we simplify instructions? Oh man, I'm bad for this. I talk a lot. I can't lie. I love to talk. As a matter of fact, I get paid to talk, but that's besides the point. Simplifying instructions needs to be a pretty simple dashboard. There should be three goals for any event: to get there on time, make sure that the food is perfect and that everyone leaves happy. Let's say that is the three things: get there on time, food set up perfect, and that it's all at the right temperature. Of those three things, make a 3 by 3. What are the three things in order to get there on time? Make sure we just check the order, make sure we have a driver, make sure we have the right directions and the timing. So that we get there in time. But a 3 by 3 for myself always keeps things simple. If I try to make 5 line items on one task, it starts getting messy. I always choose the three most important things for the event. Now, out of those three most important things, what are the three things to make one, two, and three happen? And how does it relate to my team as well? But only a 3 by 3. Don't get any deeper than that. If you do, that means we are overthinking those directions for us to complete versus our team to help complete. How do we tell when our people are feeling lost or overwhelmed? A lot of times they get quiet. They don't say anything. That's when you know that that overwhelm is starting to kick in. Some other people, they will absolutely voice this is too much and start literally pulling out their hair. But most of the time, that feeling of lost or overwhelmed is when they get quiet. So, a simple fix to that is ask them to repeat back what the next steps are, what the task is, what they're thinking through, but get that communication going because most people, whenever they get lost, they say nothing. Is there a platform you recommend for real time communication? Are some better than others? Everyone will have their own opinion on this. And it's the one that your team is used to using is the one that you should use. I'm not going to point out any specific platform, but whatever your team is used to using, that's the one that they should use. If it's something new and every month it's a new platform, now it's starting to get a bit crazy. If I had to give one myself to keep it simple, low tech, group text message. A group text message knows this is the catering team or this is the field team. And anytime that that lights up for that group, they know it's all about business. Some others like to use different tech, different platforms, but always use the one that your team is used to using and then use it all of the time. How often should we be scheduling coaching with our team members? Call me crazy. Some do, and some to my face, but weekly, weekly, absolutely every 7 days. And then that way I know on Thursday at 2 p.m., it is me and Christina. On Friday at 3 p.m., it's Gabe and I. On Tuesdays at 9 a.m., it is Terry and I want to keep it the same day every single week. If I go bi-weekly, you know there is a strong possibility someone is or some weeks you go on vacation, things skip, things change, and next thing you know, you skip it on accident. I always do scheduled coaching once a week. Plus, within that 7 days, it gives us better time to track progress. Tracking progress over 14 days, a lot of things happen, a lot of excuses there as to what's going on. That 7-day time frame for me is that sweet spot, and it's done for 30 minutes. With that 30 minutes, I break it up to 3 sections. The first 10 minutes is they get to talk to me about anything, their favorite food, what movie they saw, what their kids did in school, their Yu-Gi-Oh, their Pokemon. I don't care. First 10 minutes is me getting to learn about them as a individual. Because at that same time, I'm getting to learn how to connect values of the company with the same values that they show as a person. The second 10 minutes is for them to talk about challenges and wins from the prior week, from the prior 7 days. They talk about any challenges, any wins, any red tape, things that they need help with. The last 10 minutes is for me to then help coach them through their challenges and or celebrations. That's how I set up every single one-on-one. It's not time that I'm like, I got you now. I've cornered you for 30 minutes so I can tell you everything that's going on with me and the company. That's not what this is for. This is for us to get to know them better and help train them so that they know that we understand exactly what they're going through when they're out there on their feet. They can take medium risk and get maximum results. How do you deal with team members who consistently don't take initiative even after you've tried to coach them in that direction? I'm going to repeat that one more time. How do you deal with team members who consistently don't take initiative even after you've tried to coach them in that direction? The first thing that I will absolutely say is I need to make sure I'm not coaching everyone the exact same way. That is something that we all get into. We think that coaching Peter is the same way we coach Paul, the same way we coach Andy and Sarah. That's not correct because all of them are very different. All of their motivators, what pushes their buttons, can be and will be very different. Our coaching style has to shift from a new team member to a moderate to a seasoned one to one that's active in the field or still getting to learn the actual processes. All those coaching techniques have to change with the individual, which is why we take time to get to know them. So that's the very first thing that I would do. After that, with my coaching, I actually take notes. I want to make sure that I'm taking handwritten notes, not on a cell phone. It looks like I'm jamming out some text message or playing some video game. I don't want them to think that. I want them to know I am invested in them as a person. So I take handwritten notes. And then I follow up on those notes prior to the next one-on-one, looking through to make sure that I understand what happened last week. Why? Again, because I'm a human being. I know that there's things on my mind too. I have to reorient myself to make sure I know what's going on and get caught up with their wins and their challenges. The very last piece, if I've changed my coaching to match their style, I've made sure I've taken notes. I've been tracking their progress, and they still don't take any initiative. It sounds like they want to graduate to being our next guest. Not that drastic, but at some point, it's a choice if someone wants to move forward and actually take initiative or not. Not really a question. Just wanted to say I love highlighting some of the positives during a debrief. I agree. And again, that's where we though drop the ball is not highlighting the positives. It's not luck. It's not, oh, we just happen to do well. Some kind of systematic process that you and your team did made that event go well. You need to debrief and go over it every single time. And even when you do on the first day, second day, third week, fourth month, they still need that refresher because they will have things on their mind for the next event. I love that too. How do you identify the difference between a performance issue and a training coaching opportunity? Now, training and coaching opportunity is the event, not the event. That specific thing that is going on has the window for you to train or coach them on to do something better or to get a different result in the future. Let me repeat that. Whenever something goes wrong, it gives you a window to either train or coach them to get a better result within the future. If you're constantly training and coaching on the exact same opportunity and they're getting the exact same result, that's whenever it's a performance issue. A mistake is not a performance issue. It is an opportunity for training and coaching. Consistently doing the exact same thing after being properly trained and coached, properly being the key word, that's whenever it's a performance issue. Hopefully that answers your question. If not, reach out to me on the sidelines. We can talk through that more. What are some effective techniques to immediately refocus or re-energize a team mid-event? What are some effective techniques to immediately refocus or re-energize a team mid-event? Always, what is the end result? Getting them back to what is the next step within the process, because we get drawn so much into a current mistake, a current crisis, a big fire, and trying to figure out what is the why behind why that happened. The why in that moment doesn't matter. What does matter is the next step into what leads us to the end result. So try to keep that in mind of the refocus. Don't focus on the past, not rear view mirror. Always focus on the windshield. What is the next step? And that helps to re-energize your team, knowing that they can hit more success versus feeling like they're stuck within their last mistake. What is it? The memory of a goldfish. Don't think about the past 5 seconds. Create new memories. Get to that end result. How do you coach team members who shut down or disappear when things get tough? That is a great question, and it does happen whenever there are challenges. They can't shut down or disappear, and you can't find them for minutes or even hours. Constant checks on your team, who is where, is a good thing to do. Can it start to derail the process of what's happening for the event? Yes, but that needs to be a case by case process. And that's a check in with any individuals that is known to shut down or disappear. That's also where that one-on-one coaching comes into. Getting that information during the time of the event isn't that important. Why? Because the main important thing is what? The end result. The end result of that event. After the event passes, then we can talk about situation, behavior, and impact. What the situation was, what the behavior is that you observed, and how that impacts the event or the rest of the team. That way, you are clearly stating what it was, what you observed, and how it impacts, and then figuring out how we can have a better result in the future. But the SBI method is a very good way to talk through with anyone that tends to shut down or disappear when things get tough after the event? What's your approach to motivating teams that are operating in fast-paced, unpredictable environments? Communication and lots of it. You've been in lots of restaurants, kitchens, service lines that when it's really quiet and everyone's just head down, things aren't going that well. That's whenever the most mistakes are being made because we are a incredible machine. We are a wonderful Corvette engine, if you like Corvettes or Ferraris, your choice. But when everything talks to each other, when you can hear the callbacks, when we're talking about what's low, when we're talking about what's coming up next, how many minutes to the next thing, who's going to be where, what, when next, that open communication lets everyone know to be focused on what's going on around them. But in a fast paced, unpredictable, the more communication that's relevant to what you're doing, the better. That's that quarterback mentality of talking to your O line, telling them what you see. They may be looking at it at the exact same time as you see it, but that open communication does something to make that reaction a bit different as the day or event goes on. How early in the process should coaching for high pressure situations begin? How early in the process should coaching for high pressure situations begin? I have to say it starts on day zero. Coaching isn't something that you just throw in on week 4 when you think that they're starting to understand what's going on. Coaching is your culture or it's not. There isn't a time, if I'm answering this question right, that there isn't a time frame of when to start coaching for high pressure situations. You're not waiting for the environment to be high pressure in order to start coaching. You're getting them used to the fact of receiving coaching, whether it's slow, medium business, high volume, no pressure, low pressure, high pressure. You first have to get your team used to receiving coaching. So you start it as soon as possible. Can you share a strategy for delivering tough feedback in the heat of the moment without demoralizing the team? That sounds like someone that has a lot of experience in demoralizing teams. I'm kidding, but I will repeat that one more time. Can you share a strategy for delivering tough feedback in the heat of the moment without demoralizing the team? It sounds like it's a long answer, but it's not. Positive feedback is public, negative feedback, tough feedback is private. Just that simple. Whenever you keep it private, you don't demoralize the team and you're choosing to focus on the positives as a group so that the whole team sees that end result getting closer to them for success. The tough feedback is personal, it's private, it's done one on one. How do you handle breakdowns in communication or execution mid event? Goldfish. You have to get past because it is going to happen. If you stick with the memory of a breakdown mid execution, that's going to drag down the rest of the event. You have to be focused on what the next step is. I hate to sound like a broken record, but it's true. The what's the next step to get to success? Don't drag on about something that went wrong because it will. Spoiler alert. It's gonna go wrong. Something will go wrong. Something will be made twice. Something was not made. Something was late. There were more people. There were less people. Table leg broke. things tipped over, you name it, something is going to happen. What is the next step to success? How do you coach leaders to communicate clearly and decisively when under stress? Ah, that's a good question. That is a very good question. How do you coach leaders to communicate clearly and decisively when under stress? First, take a breath. Think through what the three most important things are, the three things that helps to get those three things done, and then what is the next step. But now you have to coach leaders of how to communicate that clearly and decisively. Teaching others how to lead well is a challenge. It is more of a monkey see than monkey do. Hate to use a monkey reference, but your team watches you more when you think that they're not looking at you. The moments that you say, watch me do this, and I'm gonna train you on doing this, they're watching you but not really. The moments that you did not say, watch this, is when they're watching you more. Is what are your constant habits? What are the constant things that you're always doing, even if you don't realize it? That's what they're picking up on. That's that monkey see, monkey do reference. So, yes, it's good to talk about it, but you yourself, to train leaders, you have to understand that there's two different views. There's the view of you actively training them in doing something. Then there's the other view of I'm watching you even whenever you don't think I'm watching, not in a creepy way, but that's whenever they are picking up on your habits. You have to be cognizant of how you're communicating and how you're making choices and working through those choices, and then talk about what you did as a team. That debrief at the end also gets them to understand how they can lead better themselves too. How can hospitality leaders begin developing leadership capabilities within their frontline teams? Great question. Again, how can hospitality leaders begin developing leadership capabilities within their frontline teams? First thing is training. Training is ongoing. There's two forms of training. First, you have training that you say, I have to have a budget for. If I don't have a budget, how can I train? Then you have training that people don't care what the budget is. They are going to just keep training you no matter what. So you're either in one of two camps. Either you train all the time or you only train whenever you have a budget. The people that train all of the time are building the capabilities within their frontline teams. They are delegating tasks to different people every 3 to 6 months. And then they're transferring those tasks and using the person that they trained to help train the next person for that task. They are dedicating a training time, say, for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to show you how to do this. Now, it's still your business. It's still your catering. You still have to make sure that you are overseeing what's being trained. But whenever you can start to delegate things to people within your team and start swapping out those duties every 3 to 6 months and use the one leaving from doing that duty to help train the one that's taking over it while you oversee to make sure that the content is correct, you are beginning to really train your frontline teams for leadership. One last question, and then we are going to wrap up. How do you balance hands-on leadership with empowering others when time is tight and stakes are high? There's a lot of different leadership styles. You have democratic style. The democratic style is, if you ever watched Ted Lasso, I'm guessing most of you probably have. First of all, I love Ted Lasso. dude is amazing. Ted Lasso is a fictional show on Apple TV about a football coach that was having some home issues. So he decided to take a job overseas training the other football. Come to find out, it's the other football, not American football. So he's like, oh man, how do I do this? But again, if you're going from rolling burritos to building burgers, or building burgers into fast casual, or fast casual into fine dining, or fine dining to catering, catering to marketing, marketing to IT, you still have to find the pieces of leadership and coaching of what you learned from the other environment and bring it into the next one. So as you're doing that, with Ted Lasso, his democratic style was always taking the word of everyone on the team and then he making the final choice at the end. The challenge with that, though, is that it takes time. It takes time to take everyone's word. But the good part is everyone feels that their voice is heard. And then they can make a choice. If things go right, everyone celebrates. If things go wrong, it's all good. It was a team sport. The opposite of democratic style is autocratic. The autocratic style, I'd say, it's less of a style. It's more of a tactic. The autocratic style is when you're telling someone exactly what to do, how to do it, because time is tight. The end result is very specific. We know what the process is, and we need to get there now. The autocratic style isn't something that should be used all day long on all teams, but there are specific situations that calls for just look at me. I'm going to walk you through it because you don't need to look down at the heights of where you are at. Follow my voice, follow my lead. We got this. That's how you balance hands-on leadership with empowering others when time is tight and stakes are high. Excellent. Well, hopefully there were some great tips and tricks used during or learned during this session. The biggest thing about high pressure challenges is keeping it simple, speaking with your team, making sure that you truly communicate on the front end and on the back, no matter even if you've said it 20 times before. Hopefully you learned something on this week's session of Cater Linked in the Coach's Corner. And I'm going to love to see you at the next one. If you ever have any questions, reach out to me directly at jbrooks@jasonebrooks.com or catch me on CaterLinked. I am always in the community and I will make myself available. Thank you. Have a great afternoon.